Have you ever spent money just to feel better and ended up feeling worse? That's what emotional spending is. And for me, it didn't just hurt our finances, it showed up in my peace, my confidence, and how I showed up as a mom. If you saw last week's video on emotional spending triggers, you already know this is something I've been working through in real time. But today, I want to talk about something that isn't as easy to track as dollars and cents. I want to share what emotional spending really cost me. Because for me, the damage wasn't just financial. It showed up in my peace, my confidence, my energy, and how I showed up as a mom. If you've ever spent money to feel better only to feel worse, you're not alone. There were so many times I reached for spending as a comfort without realizing it. A $5 coffee or even a $2 coffee when I was feeling exhausted and needed that caffeine to keep going. A new book, a planner, because I thought I could fix my life, or even groceries that I didn't really need. They weren't on the list, but I saw them at the store and I felt inspired to get them, thinking I would cook something new instead of sticking to the grocery list. At that time, it felt like a small win. But over time, I started to realize I wasn't solving the actual issue. I was layering guilt on top of exhaustion. I was buying a feeling of control, but only for that moment. Sometimes it felt like I was doing something productive. Like if I bought the perfect planner, I'd suddenly become more organized. Or if I stocked the pantry with healthy snacks, maybe I'd finally get the kids eating better. But that rush never lasted. I was still tired, still overwhelmed, and now I had even less money to work with. Before we move on, I just want to say if you've ever found yourself buying things you didn't need and then feeling ashamed afterwards, I get it. And stick with me because in a few moments, I'm going to walk through the 7 real life costs emotional spending has had on me. It's not just money, it's so much more than that. I never felt truly confident with money. I didn't grow up with financial stability. We were poor, and money always felt like something to fear or fight about. I've been in debt since college. When I graduated, I had almost no financial help to get started in life. Even when my husband and I got married, we were so close to being debt free, but life kept happening. We had kids, there was emergencies, unexpected expenses. We even replaced a motor and an engine in one of our vehicles. And every time we got close to feeling stable, something knocked us back down. It's been exhausting. So when I'd overspend, it didn't feel like a mistake. It felt like proof I was failing at something that I was never taught. And that belief, it seeped into areas of my life too. I started avoiding my bank account, second guessing every decision, and feeling like I was just pretending to hold everything together. Emotional spending created more clutter, not just physically, but mentally. Every purchase meant more stuff to manage, return, clean, justify. It became this quiet background noise that drained me. And as a mom, especially homeschooling 2 kids, that mental clutter is no joke. There were times I'd walk into a room and just feel overwhelmed by the stuff, bins overflowing, unopened packages, things I thought would help but never got touched. And then I beat myself up for not using what I bought, for wasting money, for not having the energy to deal with it. It was this exhausting cycle. But it wasn't just stuff. Over the years, emotional spending and constant money stress have cost me so much more. From lying awake at night wondering how we'd make it work, and waking up at 2 or 3 in the morning in a panic about how to pay a bill that week. There's this constant buzz of anxiety that never lets your brain rest. Friendships, because I couldn't afford to go out or meet up, or because I was working a second job, so I didn't have the time to see them. I'd start saying no so often that eventually the invitations just stopped coming. And I get it, but it's still so isolating. Lots of opportunities. I've missed trips I've had to say no to, visits I couldn't make. Even my kids have missed out on things like adaptive swimming lessons, music lessons, field trips. We've had to pass up on experiences I wish they could have had simply because we just don't have the money. My health. I always feel run down, like I'm fighting a cold, because I never really rest. Financial stress wears on your body. I get sick more often, and I just don't bounce back like I used to. My sanity. Constant money stress makes it impossible to think clearly or calmly. I can find myself crying or getting upset over something small because it's never about that one thing. It's just the weight of everything. Connection with my kids. Because so much of my energy goes into figuring out how to survive financially, I really want to be present and playful, but so often distracted, tired, and mentally just spinning. In my marriage. I mean, my husband's great and all, but we bicker over things that we should be able to afford. And it creates distance. There's this low level tension in the house that's always simmering just below the surface. And the thing is, none of this is because we don't care or we don't try hard enough. It's because we've been surviving without a safety net for way too long. I'm slowly learning that budgeting isn't about being perfect. It's about making peace with your patterns and gently changing them. I'm giving myself tools, not rules. This means having a reflection check in before I spend, writing down how I'm feeling, and using a gentle plan instead of strict restriction. When I want to impulse buy now, I try to pause and ask myself, what am I really needing right now? If the answer is comfort, connection, rest, I try to meet those needs without spending. I'm also learning to celebrate the tiny wins. Choosing to walk away from Target with nothing extra, that's a win. Saying no to something I'll regret later, win. Putting things into an online shopping cart without pressing send and checking on them a few days later to see if I really want it, that's a win too. So yes, emotional spending does cost me money, but it has cost me years of clarity and calm. And now I'm doing the work to take that back. So if you've ever been in the same place, you're not alone. Drop a comment and let me know what your biggest struggle is right now. And please subscribe to follow my journey. Hopefully, there'll be something along the way that helps you as well. So take a deep breath in and invite calm, clarity, and grace back into your life. Until next time, bye.